Hi, welcome to the Body Shop Physical Therapy. I'm Dr. Catherine Price. I'm a physical therapist, and in this video, I'm going to go over stack sitting, which is one way that you can sit to decompress the spine and sit as pain-free as possible. Before I begin, I want to speak a word of life from Psalm 77:12. I will consider all your works and meditate on all your mighty deeds. When we sit, we put a lot of compression on our back, especially if we are sitting in incorrect posture. So sitting is, you may have heard the term, sitting is the new smoking, because if we sit for long periods and we're slouched and putting pressure on those discs, which is the cushion between the vertebra, the bones in the back, that outer layer, the annulus, it's a ligamentous tissue and it's fibrous, and the central part is fluid, and that fluid can press onto the fibers, and if it's just being pressed over time, it can tear through those fibers. So sitting with a decompressed spine to alleviate that stress and strain can be helpful for long-term avoidance of back injury from prolonged sitting. So you do want to change posture. So after 30 minutes, you want to get up and move around or just change your position. So there is something called postural syndrome, and if you sit or stand or position yourself in a position for an extended period of time where you've got contracted muscles. So we've got postural muscles that are going to consistently or constantly contract to hold us in positions that we want to be in. And we want to be in a position that is going to put us less stress as possible on our tissues and our body in order to keep them healthy. So stack sitting is a way that you can sit without any backrest. So you just are going to sit anywhere. So this is something that can be utilized. You do not necessarily need a wedge cushion or just a wedge, but if you can make a wedge on the back of your chair, it's just going to help you get the pelvis in the correct position in order to then promote the stack sitting in the spine. So to do this, you're going to find your chair. If you have a folded towel or can make a wedge, great. That's just going to assist with the pelvis. You want to stand with your feet hip width apart, toes facing forward. You want your legs back up against the chair, and then I'm going to hinge at my hips. So I don't want to slouch. I want to bend forward at my hip, and then I'm going to bend my knees and come to that edge here. And then when my buttocks is against the wedge, it's going to naturally tilt and keep my pelvis tilted slightly forward. And that's the position that I want to hold, just a slight tilt forward, not arching, but just a slight tilt. And so I'm going to stay forward here. I've got my pelvis tilted forward. Then I want to do what you call a rib anchor. And so if you imagine the back of your ribs, they're going to press back into the chair. And I'm going to do that by engaging my core. And you can feel that by taking your arms really reaching forward. If you're reaching up to the ceiling and forward, you'll start to feel the muscles in the front side turn on. So I want to turn my core, my abdominals on, hold that, and then relax my arms down. So I've got my core contracted. I'm hinging, or I'm tilting my hips slightly forward. And then all I'm going to do is bring my trunk up and over my pelvis. So I'm going to still have that slight tilt forward in my pelvis, but I'm going to keep that contraction here to decompress the spine, and I should feel my spine stacked. And then I'm going to do a shoulder roll. So I'm just going to relax my shoulders. I can take my hand right on the backside lower part of the bottom of my hair and just kind of give a little lift up, kind of like a cat picking up her kittens. You're just going to lift up slightly, and that's going to lengthen the back of the neck. And this is going to be a posture that is going to should feel good, and then you can hold for an extended period. So it takes away from that slouched compression, and you don't want to be overarched. So you're just getting that slight anteversion or that tilt forward. If you kind of picture just untucking your tail, and it's going to tilt slightly forward, lifting the chest, but then you're engaging your core, and that's just going to stack the spine right over your pelvis. And this is called stack sitting and can be helpful if you're at a desk doing work, if you're sitting having a meal, and you just are not going to sit against with your back against the backrest. Feet are also flat on the floor, and the knee position, you want the knees to slightly be below your pelvis, but definitely not above, because then that starts to put pressure on the spine. So this is one way that you can sit to help sit as pain-free as possible and alleviate some of the strain that occurs in the back with poor sitting posture. I hope this is of help, and have a blessed day. Thank you.